sad, sad day in LA Kings land when we started to realize that we were going to lose to the San Jose Sharks. Arguably, nowhere near as bad as losing to the Ducks, which thankfully we didn't do, but still not really the way you want to start or end your week depending on how you look at what day Sunday is. So it actually began pretty well. It took 3 minutes and 36 seconds for there to even be a whistle, so this is the exact opposite of what you saw in the Ducks game. While that was high energy and high octane and just like insane, this was pretty evenly measured and pretty good chances going either way and very just kind of calm. Like, here's the puck going down here and then there's the puck going down that way and so on and so forth, and not really a whole lot changing the status quo. Which actually for me was a lot easier to deal with. That Ducks game just had my blood pressure going through the roof, so this was actually kind of nice. The Kings went into it with the best penalty kill in the league at like 90-something% and 91.6, I believe. And the Sharks went into it with the second best penalty kill in the league at 89.3%. So very, very close. And for the most part, you could see why both teams had that statistic as good as it is. The Kings got the first crack at it on their, well, they got the first crack at the power play to see how the Sharks penalty kill was doing. You know, it didn't do so great for the Sharks there. It went really, really well. The Kings were up 1-0 very early into the game. So this came from Drew Doughty just kind of bugging their defenseman long enough to find an open path to Anze Kopitar, who takes a shot from the slot, and Brown just redirects it in. I could watch the line of Brown, Iafallo, and Kopitar all day long. They are stunning out there on the ice. Their chemistry is just through the roof. It is beautiful. They make the cleanest, slickest passes to each other. They always know exactly where they are. They're always in a good position to do something. And more often than not, Dustin Brown is going to be at the front of that net doing phenomenal things. Problem being, that was the only puck that made it past Martin Jones. You know I have much love for my Martin Jones. So it's hard for me to be sad about the fact that he played well, except that he plays for the Sharks, in which case, yeah, it's actually pretty easy for me to be upset about that. So, like, first power play in, we're doing really good. We're up 1-0. Excitement is brewing. And then we trade another couple of power play chances, and our PK is up to the task. It was Drew, I believe, in the box, so, you know, slight concern perhaps there, but it didn't matter because they didn't even get a shot on goal. In fact, the Sharks got the first 3 shots on goal, I believe, and then didn't have another one until 45 seconds remaining in the first period. The Kings totally dominated them, and not in a way that was obvious, per se, just their defense was very solid. They just weren't letting pucks get through to Jonathan Quick. And they weren't giving up any second chances if the puck got close. They were redirecting it out and doing a really good job on the forecheck there. And they had a lot of good work going on in the neutral zone as well. So the Sharks just really didn't have chances to see what Jonathan Quick can do. Like I said, our first PK was phenomenal, and then we got another power play, but it kind of showed how good the Sharks were doing on the penalty kill there, and it's easy to see why they're the second best in the league. They were annoyingly good. So the first period ends. Things are pretty skewed in the Kings' direction. They only have the 1 goal, but they have 8 or 9 of the shots there, and the Sharks only have 4. And the pace is kind of going in the Kings' favor. So the second period starts, and it's another one of those nice, slow, almost melodic kind of, oh, puck's going here, puck's going there. Except then the Sharks start to take over a little bit, and it starts getting a little dangerous, and you're suddenly slightly concerned that we only have a 1-0 lead, because there are fantastic chances that we're getting. At one point, there was a 3-on-1 when Martinez and Muzzin kind of got lost behind the puck there, and Jonathan Quick makes his Jedi save, and then back the other end, almost immediately, Anze Kopitar is being robbed blind by Martin Jones. There's a couple of power play chances in a row where Tyler Toffoli, well, he got the second one. It was Tanner Pearson who got the first one, and you're just sitting there like, how did that not go in the net? That's insane. And then Toffoli immediately after, a similar kind of reaction. So there are a lot of chances, but the Kings didn't bear down on them, and you're just sitting there like, oh, that's going to come back and bite us later, isn't it? Yeah, it did. It did very much. So while Quick is making Jedi magic at his end of the net there, it's a little concerning how much of that magic he's starting to have to pull out by the end of the second period. We got outshot quite badly, 19-9 actually, between the second and third periods combined. So the Sharks really made the game their own, and the Kings just kind of let them. Nick Dowd made a phenomenal save. Like, save of the game there in the second period. Even better than some of Jonathan Quick's magic, which resulted in a lot of scuffling at the net, and Joel Ward doing some goaltender interference. Like, the Sharks just went crazy at how amazing Dowd and Jonathan were being. And that was the closest it came to getting the high power excitement of the Ducks game. It was very chill. But again, the Kings couldn't really do anything on the power play, and so we go into the third period slightly optimistic about our 1-0 lead, but realistically knowing we are going to have to somehow solve the problem of Martin Jones if it's going to happen. And it didn't. The third period was not the Kings' best performance. Now, this is a team who, for a while, was leading the league in third period goals, and we had that phenomenal record of like 4-2-2 at one point of when we were leading after the second, or losing after the second coming back, and, just amazing statistics of what the Kings can rally and come back and do in the third period. This was the total opposite of that. They really kind of let things go there in the third period defensively, and it definitely cost them. The first goal came with just enough time that you're like, oh, we're tied now, like 7 minutes left. This is not good. Kind of a defensive breakdown there in front of Jonathan Quick. Hey, but 1-0, tied. That's fine. We can make it into overtime. There's 10 or so minutes left. That's doable. And Quick really is making some just phenomenal, jaw-dropping, I don't even know how he makes that happen, saves down there by his end. But it's immediately after that first goal we gave up, Nick Shore takes a penalty, and when's a really good time not to take a penalty? Right after we give up a conceding goal. So they didn't score on the power play, but it really did not help any of the momentum, which was already going in the Sharks' direction. So with about 7 minutes left in the period, they score their second, and it kind of deflated the Kings a little bit in a way I haven't seen from them in a long time. And they were back on their heels, and Drew got a second penalty, and it wasn't really his fault. The other guy actually did kind of trip on himself. But there was a lot of things going against the Kings' favor in the second and third period, and it cost them 2 points against one of their divisional rivals that we don't particularly care for. So, not really the result you're looking for. Definitely things to work on for the next game, which is against the Vancouver Canucks, and their record is less than stellar. So here's hoping that we learn from these mistakes and just play a solid game on Tuesday. Here's to that.